Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is safe to say that this video has been a long time coming. And I think it's actually a video that I should have released at some point earlier on in my career, because this chapter of the channel, this chapter of my career, you can probably tell from the changes, the buffs that I made to my personal appearance, it's coming to a close. 1.5 years later, 87,500 subscribers later, and 1,000 videos later, it's over, ladies and gentlemen. It's all finally coming to a close. The daily upload schedule of 3 videos a day, daily streams, all of that to create those videos, and of course, a ton of editing work behind the scenes to make it all happen. God bless my editors. It's done. But it's only going to be, hopefully, for a week. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am actually going on a break. For the first time in 1.5 years, and after those thousands of videos, I will be taking a vacation. And that's what I meant when I was talking about before that this is a video that I should have been released a long time ago, because I should have taken a vacation of some type a long time ago. Because it's safe to say that if you've been keeping up with the streams, if you've been keeping up with the daily content, one thing that's clear is that I've been undergoing the symptoms of burnout. And when you consider the state of all of the big 4 gacha games nowadays, where you have Honkai Star Rails, Endless Zone Zero, and Genshin Impact, the Hoyoverse titles, absolutely butchering the balance of their game, and the only thing that I actually enjoyed in their games, endgame, to such a high degree, knowing that you're just going to need all the new units to be able to complete any of the content. And then you combine that with the fact that Wuthering Waves, of course, ladies and gentlemen, right? Despite the story for version 2.7 being absolutely amazing, there's still nothing to actually do in the patch. So when you think about the timing and when you think about the schedule, this is the best time that I think anyone could have possibly theorized to go on a break in the first place. And when we come back, right, we're going to have amazing new games like Duet Night Abyss ready to rock and roll. And of course, right, we're going to have the release of Chuyan on the 30th. So don't worry. If this whole thing that's going on right now is a little bit of a concern to you, we'll be back and we'll be ready to go with even more energy and hopefully, right, a better framing and a better perspective on the content moving forward. So with that in mind, I wanted to use this opportunity and I wanted to use this time right as I'm heading on this break to talk about the journey that we've taken over the past 1.5 years. Talk about how we've been able to be where we are today. And of course, I think that there's no better audience to share this journey with than the individuals that have allowed it to happen. Because without you guys, my dear viewers, no matter what I might be saying on stream and no matter what I might be saying in my videos, you're the individuals that have allowed all of this to happen. And while I typically don't upload, sentimental sort of content like this, where I, dive into like the feelings and the sort of stuff like that, I think that this is something that's been long overdue. And honestly, it's something that I feel like you as viewers deserve to actually, be aware of. So with that out of the way, don't think that I'm getting forced into this. This is something that I actually wanted to do, and I think this is just the perfect time to do it. So let's just go ahead and talk a little bit about the journey that we've been on, thinking about like some of the oldest videos. One thing that I made very, very, very apparent as I was going through my content creation career was that I was going to be disciplined, that I was going to have a schedule. And that was something that, for somebody that had never really uploaded or made videos before, that was something that was a little bit hard to do, right? Going ahead, editing a video, getting the script ready, recording, getting the thumbnail, title, all of that, tags. That was something that I undertook entirely by myself and committed to uploading at least a single video a day while I was in the early stages of my career. And there was clearly a point, there was clearly a shift that occurred when I started doing some more regular streams, where I started making some more VOD-based content that, would be spliced, edited up, and then repackaged right into videos. And the second that I was able to make that meaningful transition, that was the point where I truly saw that my channel had the opportunity to blow up. Got myself into guide content as well. This was stuff that ended up doing amazingly. And, naturally, naturally have taken that guide content and applied it to all the new characters. And this is something that I would not have been able to do myself. This is something where some might say nepotism or something like that. I just call it, potentially good networking. But this was the time where I actually went ahead and was able to get a bit of a boost, right? Was able to get some individuals, namely, the one that I want to thank the most is actually Tectone, who was able to feature me, right, through reacts on his channel to the content that I was making, who was able to, occasionally, even if it was just to talk shit, would pop open my stream on his channel, and then, crack a couple of jokes, make a little bit of fun. And I think that was genuinely one of the biggest things that allowed me to make this shift into somebody that was, uploading VOD content as opposed to, just doing all the editing myself. And this, to me, was where the shift started occurring, right? We went from one video a day where I would spend about 7, 8, 9 hours a day just in the editing work. And then from there, we were uploading 3 videos a day. And it's safe to say that just based off the trajectory, based off the revenue, based off the numbers, the views, all of that, January, which was essentially when that big transformation occurred and I had the opportunity to go full steam ahead right around here, my revenue in January basically exceeded the past 4 or 5 months that I had been in content creation. I started back in May of 2024. Early May 2024. And so that had been around 6, 7, 8 months of just making content, like, that one video a day. And then the second that I transitioned over to making that VOD content in January, I out-earned the past 8 months of my career. And so, naturally, right, I'm going to give the most thanks possible to this man over here. I know he doesn't really make that much gacha content anymore. He's basically undertook a side quest that I think has turned into a main quest, right? But while he was covering gacha, I think we can all safely say he was one of the most prolific and, let's just be honest here, influential individuals in the space. And I can't thank him enough personally for the impact that he's had on my career. However, naturally, there are some other thanks. There are some other, appreciations I need to be giving out as well, right? Just think about all of those individuals who have, had my back, who, brought me on for podcasts, who have, brought me on with the opportunity or, and given me the opportunity to have conversations with them. A lot of these individuals, think like your Captain Cabinets, your Ethons, your, what's it called? Who else? Shit, we'll throw in Itoma as well, right? A lot of these individuals who naturally, right, I've engaged with them in a bunch of different settings. They've been some of the greatest, I think, resources that I've had available in off-stream circumstances, right? Where, we're just like having conversations, bouncing ideas around with each other, making sure that we're giving each other, like, immediate notifications when a new showcase or a new live stream or new trailer comes out so that we can all be the first to react to it. Definitely helped breed, like, a good sense of camaraderie in the space that I feel like, naturally, not a lot of individuals really partake in. And now we got to move on and we got to take a shift because naturally, right, you're seeing some other individuals on the screen. We've also been in a lot of drama over the past couple of days, past couple of months. We've also been in a lot of situations where we've called out certain CCs, they've called out us, and naturally, right, that's led to a lot of individuals not necessarily having the best impression of me. And this is my take when it comes down to it. I've won. Every single time. And so that to me is kind of like all of the signs that I would need to know about, who's being right, who's being wrong in these situations. Because I think one thing is abundantly clear when you reflect on all of the different issues, all of the different dramas. They started. Yeah, they started it. And I was simply the individual that went ahead and ended it. And it's safe to say that when you think about the present day and when you think about present content creation and you think about in the present, right, the content that we've been uploading recently, I don't really think we have any enemies. And if we do have enemies, I don't really think any of our potential enemies really want to get into another scuffle with us. Yes, I know I made a jokey video about Gacha Smack, but we're just fucking around 90% of the time nowadays. But yeah, you think about everything else that's going on, we don't really have anything. We don't really have any enemies at all. And I would love to keep it that way. Because one thing that I think a lot of people don't recognize is that, yes, drama can be a good source of views. Drama definitely can be a good source of, like, growth. But it's also not very sustainable as, like, a main sort of content type, specifically within gacha. Because to have a drama video, you need something to be said. You need something to actually happen. And when there's nothing in the games for people to really get upset about or to make drama about, like there is right now in Wuthering Waves 2.7, there's nothing in the fucking game. Well, you can kind of see how that lifeblood of your content would take you down for a bit of a spin, right? Take you down the bender over there. So, yeah, I know this has been a bit of a yap session, but I just really wanted to talk about this journey that we've been on this entire time. Give the thanks where I feel like the thanks are necessary. And, you know, also shine that spotlight on the individuals who have just been the GOATs behind the scenes. I want to give a special shout out to everyone on my moderation team on both YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and my Discord. One of my policies is that I don't want to feel like I ever have to, like, deal with, right? The politics, deal with, like, the backstabbing, the whatever, right? The shit that typically goes on in, like, these internal communities. I just want to be able to focus on my content. And the team that I have been so super fortunate enough to actually organize and, you know, build up over this 1.5 years, they've made that role that I want to play, which is essentially... I just want to be the dad that goes out and gets the paycheck, but then never interacts with the kids. I know that's awful, but that's like kind of like the vibe that I want to have. They've made that so easy and so possible. So yeah, special shout out to Snow, the head mod on my Discord server, Kaiser, Roach, all of you guys. Skybite, I know you're holding it down over there on Kick. You guys are, and I probably, again, I don't say this enough, you guys are the GOATs. And also, I know I already said this at the start, another special shout out to my editors, because I know that 3 videos a day is kind of crazy, and I know we've been able to get down to a pretty good cadence, a pretty good scheduling, but hopefully you guys will enjoy the break as well, because I know we've been busting our ass, but I would dare say that the growth that we've experienced as a result of us busting our ass, it has kind of been worth it. Last things that I'm going to talk about are some of the cool things that will actually happen during the break. I do plan on actually bringing over a gaming laptop, as well as like a microphone, camera setup, all of that, and hopefully someone will have a monitor too, so that we can actually have a stream or two while we're going to be in Austin, Texas for our break. And that to me is something that, you know, it is going to be a sponsored stream, I do believe, and we'll probably be posting a video about it as well. That should be something that's a little bit fun. Maybe we'll be able to bring out some guests as well. And when it comes to uploads that we're going to have moving forward, we're going to be on a bit more of a condensed schedule because there's not going to be somebody on Twitch to actually record all these damn things. We're basically going to be just releasing 1 video a day for the next week from the 20th all the way to the 27th. And of course, we'll be making sure to provide adequate coverage for things like weapon details of Chu Yan, his Resonator showcase, all of that good shit when the opportunity does arise as well. But yeah, just wanted to get you all situated on what the future holds for the channel. Don't worry too much. But yeah, we might be expecting more and more changes after we come back from this break. Get myself level set a bit more. Because like I said before, the burnout that I've been experiencing kind of started all the way back in Wuthering Waves 2.5, where I felt like just after an incredibly bombshell patch, right, where we had Cartithia, you know, we had this entire situation over here. Amazing character, amazing patch, amazing update. And then everything that followed afterwards, right, has just felt a little bit lacking, you know, just on, like, the event side. To see that happen just multiple months in a row has made me think a lot more about, right, where the future of the channel actually is from, like, a content perspective. Because I don't want to live and die by the actions of a developer. even if I think that developer does a fantastic job. Because the drought that we've been in, essentially, right, over the past couple of months, it's been something that I feel like is almost like legendary status at this point. So this is just more of like a introspective sort of thing over here. Expect some changes in the future of, you know, a lot of the games that we're going to be featuring. You might have a clue for what some of the new additions might be. But yeah, really looking forward to everything that's going to be coming, and all of the great games, all the great updates, all the great units that will be arriving as well once we come back on the 27th. But yeah, that'll be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't actually get as sentimental as I thought, so maybe you're going to have to wait a couple more months for that video. But yeah, let me know what you all thought, and peace out.